Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, The Apprentice. 2 hours and 2 minutes long, a little long, but it is the eve of the election. And again, anybody, and I say again, but if you haven't watched me before, you don't know, I'm not political at all. But I know who Donald Trump is. I wasn't born underneath a rock, but this is the story about how he started his real estate business in the 1970s and 80s in New York with a helping hand of an infamous lawyer, Roy M. Cohn. So I don't know any of this, right? I know who Donald Trump is, and I know what's going on. It's 7.2 on IMDb, $14,117. So Sebastian Stan plays Donald Trump. That's just enough to get me to watch this movie. And then Jeremy Strong is also, and he's playing that Roy Cohn. So Jeremy Strong is from Succession. I thought he was great. I mean, he was one of the best people to like and hate. If you ever watch Succession, oh my gosh! I mean, I really enjoyed his character and what he brought to life. And I'm surprised he hasn't been in anything else since. You know, I haven't seen him in anything. I shouldn't say he hasn't been. I don't know. Guy could be doing Broadway for all I know. But there you go. I'm mildly excited to see this, although I don't have any of the backstory or anything like that. So. Let's see, coming from a guy who is not political at all, but knows, I mean, I knew Donald Trump before he became, not that I know him, but, you know, I knew The Apprentice, the show, and, you know, everything else that he's done leading up to his first presidency. So, all right, eve of the election, here we are. Stick around, I'll let you know what I think. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of The Apprentice, and I have to say, wow. What an arc, I guess, of a character in this movie. So, interesting. Again, I'm not political at all. I don't know, any of the background. So I found it interesting to see how, he kind of started out. The things I've heard before is like he went to New York with $1 million in his pocket, and look at what he's become. Yeah, well, $1 million in your pocket in the 70s or 80s is pretty good. But that's all right. But it's so funny. I'm surprised. Like, I had no idea about how this movie was going to go, right? And, like, after seeing it, and not spoiling anything, whatever, I'm wondering if there's, like, lawsuits and stuff like that. The movie starts out, and, first of all, I thought the acting was really good. Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong. Still like Jeremy Strong. I think the guy's a really good actor, and he plays certain roles really well. Like this one and the one in Succession, I like him. And then Sebastian Stan playing Donald Trump was pretty good too. It was hard to, there's times where you could really see Donald Trump, but there's times where you kind of see Sebastian Stan a little bit, but otherwise, I mean, I thought I wouldn't have picked Sebastian Stan to play Donald Trump originally, you know what I mean? And then you see this, so that was pretty cool. And I heard Sebastian Stan say this just today that, and you see it in the movie, that Donald Trump doesn't drink. There's one scene where he does, but other than that, it's ice water. So, the interesting fact that I didn't know. Anyway, back to the arc and the story. It starts off by him, getting into a certain club or a restaurant that, like, you go through, it's kind of like a country club, I guess, in a sense of the most powerful people, and he just, that was his big thing, to get in there, so he got accepted into her, and that's where he met Roy, who eventually became his lawyer, and that's what the movie's really about, the two of them, essentially. I mean, it's mainly about Donald Trump, but, he meets with Roy, who becomes his attorney, who's this big-time attorney, and, it shows their friendship, their business connection, all that throughout the entire 2 hours of a movie. But to see it, and I say it's funny because watching a little bit of it, had to go upstairs for something to talk to my wife, and I was like, and I'll give you the beginning. I was like, it's interesting to see this movie because they really show Donald Trump early in his career, I guess, or whatever. And he's, a little humble and, vulnerable. As he's, coming out. He was the VP of his father's company. He has a real estate company. but you could see him like he's networking now with people who are large. You know what I mean? People from New York that are big names. And you know, he hasn't made a name for himself, so it's like you could see that aspect of it. I was like, wow, okay. You know, that's not the kind of Donald Trump that I know of. Not that I know much about him, but you know. But then the arc happens, and he becomes, at least they portray what a lot of people say in the media now of what he is and what he's done. And I mean, there were some things in the beginning, you know, like that weren't on the up and up, but you could see him, at least in his mind, have that little moral dilemma about what's going on, which changes throughout the film because that kind of piece completely goes away. And like I said, I'm surprised that there's not like lawsuits, and maybe there are, about this, because what they showed in the beginning was not what they showed at the end of this character. So, very interesting. And I'm also surprised that, what did I say, 7.5 or 7.2? And I don't know if it's just, yeah, 7 whatever, it doesn't matter. I need to look it up, right? All the other movies that I've seen that has any political, I don't know, nod or anything like that usually scores low. And this one's all not political, but it's about Donald Trump, who's running for president, so it's kind of political. Interesting to see that it's over 7, so baffling. I'm getting a little, I don't know, a little phlegm in my throat, but I apologize, but there you go. I don't know. From a film perspective, it's hard to say, like, from a film perspective. I did think that I learned a lot about him. What's true, what's not true, I don't know. I know he started out and grew to where he was, and I know he has that killer type attitude to get to where he was, but I don't know. Interesting. A very interesting movie to check out. So I don't have anything else more to say. I don't want to go down any political paths or anything like that, but this is a movie about a man who happens to be running for president right now, and I don't think it shed the best light on him, and I think that was unpurposeful. So interesting. Oh, and art direct, that's the one thing I said I shouldn't be doing, right? And the director of this film was Ali Abbasi. Yep. So trying to see. I haven't seen anything from this director previously, but they're involved in The Last of Us. That's cool. Okay, so I have seen some. That's about it that I've seen on the list there. So, Last of Us is a good show. So there you go. That's what I got. It's hard for me to talk more about it. It's definitely worth watching if, I mean, you want to learn more about a person. And Roy Cohen, who was his lawyer, and I thought it was interesting to see. Somewhat spoiler alert. I think this is probably all common knowledge, but it's not going to ruin the movie. This is more of like a, I don't know, whatever it is. But it's interesting to see Roy Cohen when he meets Donald Trump, and like I said, very vulnerable Donald Trump meets this killer lawyer, and then as it evolves, it goes like this. And Donald Trump, you know, like Roy is looking up more to Donald Trump than they were together. So interesting to see that whole thing happen. There you go. Sorry, it can't be more helpful, I'm sure. That's my take from a non-political side, so I'm sure other people have other opinions on this whole movie. But I'm going to jump out of this because I'm stumbling and bumbling. But thank you for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.